Streaming live across the country, tackling the topics everyone is talking about online. Share, engage, and interact. This is Newsfeed Now.
Good morning. Glad you can join us here on Newsfeed Now. I'm Suzanne Bruner. Spring break is in full swing or coming up for a lot of people, and it turns out some popular destinations that were closed are getting ready to welcome some people. We're going to talk about that and some other big stories that you're finding online this morning in just a few minutes. But first, we have the latest on the coronavirus relief bill. The House is expected to give final approval later today to the next round of coronavirus relief for millions of people. Washington correspondent Jesse Teneur brings us up to date.
Saving lives and livelihoods and giving people hope for the future.
House Democrats take a victory lap ahead of today's all but certain passage of President Biden's nearly $2 trillion COVID relief plan.
It is the best piece of bipartisan legislation that I've seen here in a long, long time.
South Carolina Congressman Jim Clyburn and his colleagues applaud the bill that includes weekly emergency unemployment benefits, monthly payments to parents from the child tax credit, and a third round of stimulus checks, which White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says will not include President Biden's signature.
This is not about him. This is about the American people getting relief, almost 160 million of them.
But House Republicans still don't see it that way.
It's not focused on COVID relief. It's focused on pushing more of the far left agenda.
Louisiana Congressman Steve Scalise and his colleagues will present a united front against the bill.
The stimulus money that we're talking about, although I hope it gets spent in the local economy, it's not a do or die situation for us.
Alabama Congressman Jerry Carl argues additional funds are not vital for states like his, where businesses have reopened and students have returned to the classroom. And Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson stresses states should first spend the $1 trillion left over from previous bills before Congress approves more money.
It's a huge waste, and I think it's a wasted opportunity as well.
And we have Jesse Teneur joining us now from Washington, D.C. Jesse, great to have you with us here. I want to leave off on that last note and kind of elaborate on some of what the House Republicans were saying. So Congressman Johnson from Louisiana says this bill is a huge waste. And then Congressman Carr from Alabama saying businesses have reopened and kids are back in school in his state. What are some of the things do they feel would be a little more appealing for a yes vote?
They think that right now that, especially when it comes to funding, like for schools and state and local governments, that it's far too much, and that those dollar amounts, instead of being billions and billions of dollars, should be essentially at zero. On the school funding, they argue that the way that Democrats crafted the legislation, that schools don't even have to spend all of this money that they're about to get on actual reopening. So they can use it kind of further down the line. So that's why they're arguing, Democrats have been saying that this is, emergency relief, but, kind of they keep saying, where's the fire? Just because they don't have to spend it until further down the line as well. And then with state and local funding, that's been a huge point of contention really since the beginning of the pandemic when it's come to passing these relief bills, that Republicans continue to argue that this is essentially just bailouts for blue states, but Democrats continue to insist that, state and local governments need this funding to keep people like everything from teachers, firefighters, other city workers employed, so states can continue to reopen and kind of return to whatever normal is after this.
And that makes sense, especially in terms of what states actually need, and it's going to differ from state to state basis. But one thing that I think a lot of people can agree on is the stimulus checks. A lot of people are looking forward to that, especially those unemployment benefits. But what should folks know about receiving a stimulus check, and how much and maybe when?
Yeah, the stimulus checks are definitely a major point that, both sides were, even though some were hesitant, they all came together and were able to compromise on that, just because it does provide that direct relief right away. And a lot of Americans are already kind of set up for it, since this would be the third round of relief. And so we did hear from the White House just yesterday that they're hoping that as soon as the House passes this today, it will go to President Biden's desk, he will sign it, and then within 2 weeks, those checks should start going out. And so that's why the end of the month, Americans should start receiving those. You mentioned the unemployment benefits. Those were set to run out March 14th. And so now with this signing, they're going to be extended to September, and so those will be able to continue. And so there's going to be a lot of money flowing from Washington across the country within these next several weeks and months.
Some good information for our viewers. Jessie, thanks so much. She's joining us from Washington, D.C. We'll continue to follow that story throughout the day. And the city of Tampa is honoring a fallen officer. Tampa police officer Jesse Madsen died in the line of duty early Tuesday morning, veering into the path of a wrong-way driver, making a sacrifice to save others. Marco Villarreal has more on this officer.
Tuesday morning, Officer Jesse Madsen lost his life after crashing with a wrong-way driver speeding down I-275. The mangled metal left behind shows how violent the collision was.
When we talk about Jesse Madsen, we're talking about a cop's cop and a hero's hero. He went out the way he lived his life.
Police Chief Brian Dugan says Officer Madsen veered into the way of the oncoming car in order to save the lives of other drivers.
He went out the way he lived his life. And last night, he put himself in between a car and a civilian, and he knew the sacrifice he was making, and he knew the risk, and he chose to do it anyway.
Now we're learning this is not the first heroic act from the 45-year-old father of three. He was constantly putting his life on the line, whether it was for medical or domestic calls. Back in 2012, Officer Madsen saved the life of a victim shot at Hollywood Nights, a Tampa nightclub.
He served in the Marine Corps. He served overseas. He's a decorated combat veteran. He also served the Florida National Guard. He served with 3 different police agencies until he settled here at the Tampa Police Department. So service was nothing new to him.
Pictures shared by his family give a glimpse of the type of man Officer Madsen was: a loving husband, devoted father of 3, and a good friend. The city is now honoring the fallen officer by lighting up City Hall, the downtown area, and all the bridges in blue during the 7-day mourning period.
A very heroic act there. Up to 800 cars were caught in a gridlock Sunday night on Interstate 225 in Colorado. Police say illegal street racers actually blocked access to some lanes, basically creating the situation. But officials say law enforcement have trouble taking action in cases like this. Deborah Takara spoke with officials who say that needs to change.
To shut down an entire interstate is completely reckless and uncalled for.
Traffic came to a standstill late Sunday night. Aurora police say about 600 to 800 cars were caught in this gridlock after illegal street racers blocked access to southbound I-225 from Colfax to Alameda for a short time.
It's hard to catch them in the act. A lot of times we're relying on calls from the community about these types of problems. By the time we show up, they could be gone.
These street racing groups have become sophisticated, using social media to connect with others and promote their races. They also outnumber officers who are trying to keep the roads clear and safe.
And these types of people use weapons. They use fireworks, to intimidate these different people so they can't drive past them or they can't get around them.
Aurora City Council member Francois Bergen says something needs to be done.
We heard from constituents last night and this morning, or all day today actually, that are outraged.
And it's not just this past weekend. She says it's been an ongoing problem. She's in the process of drafting an ordinance that would allow officers to seize cars involved in illegal races.
So I've heard from law enforcement that really that they don't feel that the tools that we currently have are effective in terms of deterring this behavior. So they feel that the threat of seizure of their vehicle would be one way to do this.
Bergen also believes the state legislature should get involved to make the penalties stricter.
That was Deborah Takahara reporting. Of course, police need your help with that case. But staying in Colorado, Boulder police, they need your help identifying people involved in a riot from over the weekend. They say a massive street party turned into a riot, and they have received more than 750 witness tips in just a 24-hour span. Ashley Michaels shows us the video and brings us an up-to-date on the investigation.
Take a good hard look at the faces in this video of those caught hitching an illegal ride on a Boulder fire truck. They're just some of the people Boulder police need help identifying after a night of partying turned violent on the hill over the weekend. They got the gun! Photo after photo after photo showing mostly CU students unmasked and violating public health orders. They've gotten more than 750 tips so far and have identified a few people, but still need help figuring out the rest, especially those involved in property damage and throwing rocks, bottles, and bricks at police officers.
This just did not happen out of the blue. This is something that has been occurring for years on the Hill. It is a culture. Students come here, to hang out on the Hill and to do some of the things that they do.
Monday night, community leaders from the university and city condemned the actions and started a conversation about how to stop it from happening again. We know patrols will be stepped up in the short term, but going forward, neighbors are now asking police to crack down when it comes to party houses.
Police must issue actual tickets instead of an infinite number of warnings that the city attorney's office can and will prosecute, and then the municipal court will uphold.
The hope is, with real change and concrete solutions, CU's Hill, infamous for its parties, can become something better.
Moving now to the Midwest. Unfortunately, it's happened again, a porch pirate. But this video right here is unlike any other. An alleged thief caught on camera struggling to push, pull, even drag a box to her van. So what was inside the package, you're probably asking? It was an inflatable hot tub, and the owner desperately wants this back.
Denise Gregory is a registered nurse and medical sales rep. In this pandemic, she's been busy.
He's wanted to get it for me for a long time.
To relax and nurse a recent partial knee replacement surgery, her husband Joe ordered her this inflatable hot tub.
I was so excited to get this, and we waited a long time because it's not cheap.
$547 to be exact. Sunday, the couple received this notification. It was delivered, but the hot tub was nowhere to be found.
My husband woke up and he thought somebody was out here delivering it at that time, and it was actually her taking it out of the package and rolling it across the street to her van.
Porch pirates are normally quick, in and out. Yet this video shows the woman's struggle to even get the box to move. Still, she takes her time and takes it.
And then she gets out of the camera view there.
We often hear police recommending people have packages delivered to a place of work to avoid this. Well, in Gregory's case, she works from home.
It is so frustrating because we use Amazon all the time to get deliveries, and then what I do for work is also I get deliveries all the time, and sometimes we'll steal, masks or gloves off my porch and probably just throw it away.
An earlier video appears to show the same van pulling by, the hot tub box still there. In that second video, you see the van pulled up right here, so Gregory thinks maybe they saw the camera and were trying to stay undetected. Either way, it happened in broad daylight, just like it is right now. Gregory says Amazon is replacing the hot tub free of charge, but says that's not the point.
She's a thief, and I want her to know that's not acceptable, and she needs to be accountable for what she did.
Not acceptable at all. All right, before we go, if you are itching to see Mickey and his friends, Disneyland is hoping to open its doors by late April. Hard to believe, but it's been closed for about a year now because of the pandemic. But right now, they are in the process of bringing back 10,000 employees who were furloughed. So you can imagine that's going to take some time to train them on new protocols and procedures for the reopening date. Chip Yost reports businesses nearby are hopeful as well that this will help their shops thrive.
Disneyland's announcement Tuesday that it plans on reopening in late April traveled fast. When Jennifer Arias and her niece and nephew, Iris and Ivan, heard about it, they decided to come to downtown Disney to celebrate.
What's the first thing you want to do when you go back?
I want to go in Small World. Probably want to go on a roller coaster.
They're not the only ones excited.
I mean, that's super positive. Disney opening in late April is definitely positive. It gives us a light at the end of the tunnel that we've been looking forward to for the last 12 months.
The Pizza Press right across from Disneyland stayed open during the shutdown, but the owner says business dropped by 85 to 90%, and they had to lay off most of their staff. Meanwhile, 29 hotels in Anaheim had to at least temporarily shut down completely. The Castle Inn and Suites has been shut down for about a year, and the owner says if Disneyland has to open in the red tier at only 15% and only with California residents, he still doesn't know if it will be worthwhile to open the doors back up just yet.
We're just taking it day by day. We'll just see what happens and plan, but we're optimistically looking forward to opening by this summer at least.
So just a little sense of normalcy, returning to the happiest place on earth. And on that note, thanks so much for clicking into Newsfeed Now. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back here online tomorrow.